then I will introduce myself. All right, welcome everyone to Thursday night prenatal yoga with the Womb Room. My name is Caitlin Tallarico. It's nice to see familiar faces and some new faces. Womb Room is a community that supports parents as they begin their parenthood journey and their families, offering doula support, childbirth education classes, yoga, therapy, and support groups. So if you are interested in any of those things, you can find out all that information on the website, wombroom.mom. There was a couple of requests for some low back and sciatic nerve pain as far as working on those areas. So we'll get into that today. And we will get started in a comfortable seat. You may feel more comfortable sitting up on a blanket or a cushion or pillow, or maybe even stacked blocks. Kneeling can be nice too. Just making sure I have everyone checked in. All right, so I'm gonna go over to my mat. All right, so I have my bolster here, just kind of like a thick cushion. Again, you can find whatever comfortable seat that is for you this evening, this moment. If you have your legs crossed in front of you, checking down, looking that your heels are in line with your pubic bone, maybe not crossed all the way. And I'll cue you to switch whatever foot is in front about halfway through. All right, so wherever you are, start to align your spine with the earth-sky axis, so getting nice and tall, finding length in the spine. You can bring your hands to comfortably rest on the top of your legs, or maybe bringing hands to your baby space, or one hand to your baby, one hand to your heart. Wherever feels comfortable for you. And I invite you to gently blink your eyes closed or bring your eyes to a soft gaze, focusing somewhere other than the computer screen. We always begin practice with kind of just checking in with the breath, starting to observe and notice where we are in this moment, how we are showing up to our practice. Starting to notice any areas of the body that are making contact with the earth, and allow yourself to really ground down, feel supported from the earth beneath you. Noticing areas of the body that you can soften, allowing the shoulders to melt away from the ears, checking in with the muscles in the face and allowing yourself to release any tension in the forehead, around the eyes, unclenching the jaw. And start to notice the breath. As you inhale, feeling the belly fill up with air, feeling the chest rise and expand. And as you exhale, feeling the belly soften aware that you're breathing in and aware that you're breathing out. Taking this time to downshift a little bit, so whether you have had a busy day working or maybe getting ready to join this class, wrangling some other children, getting them set up, just starting to really slow down a bit. Finding more length in each inhale and each exhale. Filling up past the point of fullness. And emptying past the point of empty. Starting to cultivate that Ujjayi Pranayama, so that wave-like sound of the breath as you breathe in and out through the nose, and the breath gently sifts past the back of the throat. Hearing a gentle hum of the breath, getting a little audible. Focusing on the breath is especially important during pregnancy, during labor, during birth. So during your prenatal practice, to consistently observe and check in with the breath is beneficial as you begin your parenthood journey. On the next inhale, circle the arms down, around, and up overhead, nice and tall. And as you exhale, bringing the hands together and down the midline, coming to heart center. I'm going to do that a couple more times, starting to awaken the shoulders. Inhale, circle the arms. And exhale, bringing the hands together to heart center. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Keeping the hands at heart center, pressing the thumbs into the chest, and chest kind of puffs up to meet the thumbs. So you're opening up the heart space. Taking a moment here to set an intention, either for your practice, your day, your pregnancy, intentions for your birth. All of those things that may be swirling about in front of the mind's eye, just kind of distilling that into one word or a present tense I am statement. Throughout practice, calling upon that intention, especially in times when the mind and thoughts can drift to things outside of our practice, our deadlines, our worries, our to-do list. Continue to come back to that intention. Taking one more breath here. I invite you to blink the eyes open if they're not already. And if you're sitting cross-legged, like I am in an easy seat, just switch your feet so the other leg, the other ankle is in front. Keeping the pelvis as even as possible. We tend to pick a favorite leg to go in front, so making sure that we get into both evenly. From here, inhale, start to look up towards the ceiling, keeping the back nice and tall. And then as you exhale, bringing chin to chest. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, chin to chest. Keeping length in the spine here. Inhale, keep moving with your breath. Let's do 2 more each way. Moving with the pace of your breath. Good. Meeting with the chin to chest. On the next inhale, rolling right ear towards the right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest, rolling back, kind of creating a little semicircle. Inhale, left ear, left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right. Exhale, middle. Inhale, left. Exhale, center. Keep moving at the pace of your breath. Those little half circles, awakening the sides of the neck. A place where we tend to hold in some tension. Really working through those areas. If you're feeling any areas that are stuck, really trying to move slowly through them. Let's do 1 more each side, and we'll meet in center. Good. As you come to center with chin to chest, just gently bring the head back to neutral. So looking forward, lifting the head. Inhale, I want you to bring your right hand down next to your right leg. And then as you inhale, open up the left side of the body, extending the left arm overhead, side bend. Keeping the sitting bones rounded down. So if you start to feel the left side lift up, come back a little bit. And imagine you're reaching towards the right corner of the room. Feeling that stretch from the left underarm to left hip crease. One more breath here. Finding that good space in the side body. And coming back to center. This time grounding the left hand down. Inhale, right arm sweeps overhead. And start to bend towards the left. One side may feel stretchier or more loose than the other. That's okay. Breathing into the space in between your rib cage, in between each rib bone. Expanding here. One more breath. And then come back to center. Maybe rolling the shoulders up and back if that feels good. And then we're going to meet in tabletop position. So hands and knees. Lots of options here for props if you're experiencing any indigestion or acid reflux, it may be good to put blocks under the hands to keep the chest elevated. A blanket under the hands if you're experiencing any carpal tunnel, or a blanket under the knees just to support the joint there, especially as you get further along in your pregnancy. That may feel like a necessary support. And as you arrive here, stacking shoulders over the wrists and hips over the knees, spreading fingertips nice and wide. And we want to hug around baby. So finding a gentle hug of the abdominal muscles around baby keeps the core engaged. So you really want to think about pressing the floor away from you with the hands and pressing the front of the legs, the front of the shin bone into the mat. So really active here. And we're going to move with the breath. So as you inhale, start to gently lift the hips, the heart, the gaze, coming into cow tilt. And as you exhale, tucking the tailbone, chin to chest, cat tilt. Inhale, gently lifting hips, heart, and gaze. Exhale, cat tilt, chin to chest, tucking tailbone, curve the spine. Keep moving with your breath on each inhale, lifting the head, lifting the hips. Exhale, cat pose, curving the spine. Moving at the pace of your breath here. And noticing if you feel any pulling or tightness when you come into cow pose in the front of the belly. That could be some round ligament discomfort. You can just keep that as a gentle tilt. No need to really sink super far into that if it's not feeling comfortable. And again, maintaining the integrity of the core, so hugging around baby here. Really pressing the hands, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat. Nice and active. Cat and cow is wonderful for relieving some of that low back and hip pain that you may be experiencing, and a great position to be in while laboring. And you can keep moving here, or if you'd like to start doing some gentle hip circles, continue moving with the breath, but circling the hips and the head around, almost like you have a paintbrush at the tip of your nose and kind of painting a circle in front of you, moving the hips in conjunction with the head as you circle. Continuing to move on the inhale into that cow tilt. Exhale into cat. Maybe the eyes close here, starting to really tap into the breath, get into your flow. One more circle this way, and then just switch directions of the hip circles. Maybe finding a bend in the elbows, getting into the shoulders here, the upper back can feel nice. Really listening in to what your body needs in this moment. One more circle towards the left, and then we'll come back to a neutral spine. So as you come back to that neutral spine, hands and knees, again pressing the hands into the mat, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, extending the right foot towards the back of the mat. So Tucking the right toes under. And start to gently rock back and forth here, maybe hearing some pops and cracks in the ankle. Again, hugging around baby. Strong belly, strong back. All right, when we come to stillness, we're going to open up towards the right long side of the mat. So extending the right arm overhead, coming into side plank. That right foot stays extended. And the right leg stays extended, excuse me. Couple of options here, so that right hand can stay overhead, or maybe bringing the right arm to the right ear, or bringing the hand to the hip. And then option to keep the foot grounded or hugging around baby, active strong core, lifting the leg. Finding your version this evening, wherever you are, continuing to breathe here. Gaze can be up, out, or down. One more breath. Good, if the leg is lifted, gently bring it back to the mat. And then start to lift the chest. We're gonna come into gate. So bring the heel up so the right toes are facing up, and then extend the right arm down the right leg, left arm overhead. Let someone in the waiting room really quickly. So left arm is extended overhead, gaze can be up, out, or down. Feeling the length in the left side of the body here. And noticing the hips, so really trying to press forward with the belly so the hip flexors can stretch. Noticing if you're hinging backwards at the hips, really pressing forward here, finding length in the front body. One more breath here. Good, start to cartwheel the arms back to the front of the mat, coming back to hands and knees, taking a moment to wag the tail before we go into the other side. Good, stacking shoulders over wrists, spreading fingers nice and wide. Inhale, extend the left leg towards the back of the mat, tucking toes under, taking some time to rock back and forth here. And then finding stillness when you're ready. Same as the other side, we're going to open up now, this time towards the left. So left arm comes overhead, facing the long edge of the mat. Options, arm is extended overhead to the hip, or left arm to left ear. Foot can stay grounded or lifting it up. Gaze is up, out, or down. Breathing here. One more breath. Good. If the leg is lifted, gently bring it back down to the mat. And then slowly push up so the chest is lifted, bringing the heel to the mat, left heel to mat, and the toes pointing upward. And again, I mentioned this before, but a blanket under the knee can be a great support here if you're feeling like you need it. Extending the left arm down the left leg, and then right arm comes overhead, feeling the nice stretch in the side body. Noticing if you're hinging back with the hips, really pressing forward with the hips, the baby, feeling the length in the hip flexors. One more breath here. Good. Cartwheel the hands, coming back to the front of the mat, tabletop. Wag the tail. Good. We're going to come into Anahatasana, puppy pose. So this is a great inversion during pregnancy, and you can use a lot of different supports here. So maybe a block can be handy nearby, or even a blanket. But we're going to be bringing the chest down towards the mat, so you might want to tuck your toes, keeping hips stacked over knees, and then just start to walk the hands forward, coming into puppy pose. So now from here, the chest or the forehead might not hit the ground. That's okay. That's where the block can come in handy, or cushion or pillow. You can place it underneath the chest, or maybe bringing it underneath the forehead, or bringing stacked hands over the forehead. Can be great too. Wherever you are, the goal is trying to soften the bottom, the lower part of the uterus. So really letting go here and letting baby kind of get into optimal position. So once you get into this position, you should really start to feel the hip flexors relax and soften. This position is great to do throughout pregnancy, especially towards the end of pregnancy. And then also during labor, if baby may need to get into better position, this kind of allows baby the space to back up a little bit and get their head into the pelvic outlet in an optimal way. One more breath here. Start to bring the hands underneath the shoulders, pressing back up to tabletop. And we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So tucking the toes under, spreading fingertips wide, lifting the hips, coming up to downward dog. You can keep the knees as bent as you need here. And you may find that if your feet are a little bit wider than hips width, especially as baby needs more space in the front. Pressing the hands into the mat so shoulders are engaged and we're not sinking into the shoulder joint here. And untucking the tailbone so it lifts up towards the ceiling. One more breath here. Start to walk the hands towards the feet, coming into forward fold. And lots of options here. So depending on how far along you are in your pregnancy, you may still be able to fold forward without much modification. But as baby takes up more space, the feet are going to come wider, knees may be bent, and maybe hands stay kind of in downward facing dog arms, so forward instead of right underneath. Hands can come to blocks as well, especially if you want to lift the chest, if you're experiencing any nausea or indigestion. And if you're feeling comfortable to do so, maybe shaking the head yes and no, releasing the neck. Finding your fit, your fold, and that's going to be ever changing, day to day, week to week, as the body is ever changing during pregnancy. One more breath here. On the next inhale, bring hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, bring hands to hips, hug around baby, engage the core. Inhale, rise up to stand. And as you exhale, firm the thighs, anchor the tailbone down. Inhale, circle arms down, around and up, overhead. And as you exhale, bringing the hands down the midline, coming to baby space, and taking 3 breaths here. Maybe closing the eyes, taking a moment to connect to baby, connect back to that intention. As you inhale, feeling the belly expand, pelvic floor relaxes. And as you exhale, feeling pelvic floor engage, lifting in and up. All right, if the eyes are closed, blink them open, spreading feet out wide. And actually, you know what, we're gonna go into our squats first before we go into Malasana. So, if you have a block, grab it. If you are experiencing any discomfort in the front of the pelvis, maybe some symphysis pubic pain or any of that pelvic girdle pain, a block is going to be helpful here. If you're experiencing more of that low back and SI joint pain, you may want to grab a strap or a scarf, a dog leash, anything that you can tie around the outside of your legs. I'm going to show with a block today, but I'll cue the strap as well. So if you have your block, bring your feet about hips width distance apart, and then just put that block in between the legs. And that can also be a folded up towel if you fold it up a bunch to make it nice and something that you can really squeeze into. If you're using the strap, you're going to tie it around the outside of the legs. We're going to come into our chair squats. If you have the block, we're going to be squeezing in when we come up to stand. If you have the strap, you're going to be pressing out into the strap. All right? So we're going to go through, do about 10 of those. So on the inhale, sitting back, and exhale, coming up. So inhale, sit back in your chair, arms extended overhead, belly softens, pelvic floor relaxes. And then as you exhale, squeeze the block or press out into the strap, in and up, 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 up. Pelvic floor engages. Inhale, sit back. Exhale, standing up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, like you're sitting in a kid's chair, sitting all the way back. Exhale. Inhale, strengthening the glutes, strengthening the thighs, the hips. Exhale. Inhale, pelvic floor relaxes, expands, and as you exhale, pelvic floor engages in and up. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to do 2 more here. Inhale. Exhale. And last one. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Remove whatever props you have if you have them. And actually, I'm going to put my blocks towards the front of the mat, just to have them close by. So walking back to the back of your mat, spreading feet out wide and turning toes out. Your feet are about mat's width apart. Inhale, circle the arms. And as you exhale, bringing hands through the center, coming into Malasana. So if you're having any of that pelvic pain in the front, you may want to stay up here, modified Malasana, or you can come all the way down, full Malasana, like so. Pressing the elbows into the inside of the legs, lifting the heart. You can always bring a block or support underneath the sitting bones here. Outside edges of the feet are sealed to the mat or the floor. Taking 2 more breaths here. Lifting the heart to meet the thumbs. And then start to walk the hands forward, finding downward facing dog. Aware that you're breathing in and aware that you're breathing out. Taking 1 more breath here. As you exhale, sigh it out through your mouth. Good. Start to shift your gaze towards your hands. Walk your right thumb over to meet your left. And then walk the right foot forward to the outside of the right hand. We're going to come into our warrior 1, but taking it step by step. So grounding down through the back foot at a 45-degree angle. Blocks can be helpful here to lift the chest. Start to walk the hands up the thigh. And then extend the arms overhead. Taking as many steps as you need to arrive. Bringing your attention to the hips, bringing right hip crease back, left hip crease forward. Melting the shoulders away from the ears, softening the face. Maybe bringing a smile to the lips. Feeling the strength. As we press the feet into the mat, and feeling that engagement as you press away from the mat. On the next inhale, cactus the arms, so bringing them out to goalpost arms, 90-degree angle. And then start to slightly bend back, keeping the eyes open, looking up, opening the heart space, keeping the bend in the front knee. Coming back up, reaching behind you, interlacing the fingers together or grabbing opposite elbows or maybe a scarf or a strap, whatever's accessible. We're gonna lean forward, humble warrior. So start to fold towards the inside of the right leg. We wanna focus on keeping the chest open. So kind of imagining the skin in between the shoulder blades is nice and wrinkly as we open up the chest. And if balance allows, maybe looking towards the back foot. One more breath here. And then release the fingers. We're going to walk the hands over towards the long edge of the mat, turning all 10 toes to face the left long edge of the mat in wide angle. You can bring a bend to the knees. If you need, maybe rocking the hips back and forth here, taking some time to explore. And I'm going to bring my blocks over with me. These are helpful if you want to raise the earth a little bit. All right, and then you can walk the hands underneath of you, or if you like to keep them in front of you in downward facing dog arms to kind of give a lift to the chest, that's a great option too. We're going to take some time to explore here a couple of options, maybe walking hands to right foot and then over to the left. Sometimes I like to bring a block underneath the forehead in that tall setting and just kind of melt into that fold. That can feel really lovely. Maybe bending one leg at a time. So taking the time to explore here. Listening into what your body, your baby is calling for in this moment. And then 2 more breaths, we're gonna meet with hands right under the shoulders. So you can lift the chest, you're at about a halfway lift. I'm gonna bring the block under my hands if you have one. Maybe you'd like to bring yours too. So as we meet here, we're gonna go ahead and do some gentle spinal twists. So whether the hands are on blocks or on the floor, we want the shoulders kind of stacked over the top of the wrists. And as you inhale, swim the right arm overhead, looking up towards the sky. And then exhale, coming forward, like you're swimming laps in a pool, and bringing it back down to the block. Inhale the left arm overhead, gentle twist. And then exhale, swim the arm forward. We're gonna keep moving with the pace of your breath, your own breath. As you inhale, expanding, twisting, and as you exhale, swimming forward. Noticing any good space you're creating on the side of the body. We'll do 1 more on each side and meet in the center. All right, from here, bend the knees nice and deep. Really bring the chest forward here, untuck the tailbone, and start to bring the hands towards the hips. And we're gonna come up to standing. All right, we're gonna come into our goddess squat. So you can keep the legs at a wide stance, but turn the toes out to the side. And we're gonna come into a nice bend here. Bringing the hands to the tops of the thighs and feeling a little bit of traction here as you press the hands into the thighs, maybe feeling a little pop or crack in the low back and sacrum here. Gently swaying side to side, or maybe bringing one shoulder forward for another little gentle twist here. Keeping the bend in the knees. One more breath here. And keeping the bend in the knee, we're gonna lift the chest and do a couple of lion's breaths. So inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Exhale through the mouth. When it's getting nice and loud, tongue out, inhale. Exhale. 2 more, just like that. Inhale. Good. Start to straighten the legs, feeling a little fire building in the thighs and the hips. We're gonna come into our triangle pose. So I'm gonna grab a block and place it just behind my right foot. We want the right toes to face the front of the mat, left toes to face the side. And we're gonna come into triangle. So you can start to hinge at the hips, really keeping the legs still as we hinge over, grabbing that block if you have it, and bringing that left hand to the sacrum and pressing sacrum into the hand. We kind of want to shift that left side of the hip forward so as not to be flat, like in between 2 panes of glass, but really offsetting the hips here. You can keep the front knee bent if you need. And then when you're feeling ready, you can start to extend the left arm overhead. Feeling the opening of the chest as you peel open the ribcage up towards the sky. Pressing the feet into the mat, nice and active. Supporting the pelvis here. One more breath. Good. Looking down at that right hand, we're going to move into half moon. Pick up that block if you have it. Start to walk the hands forward. About 2 feet in front of that right leg. And then lift the left leg half moon. Looking down at that right hand for balance. You can start to bring the left arm overhead, maybe shifting your gaze if that's feeling accessible and appropriate for you. Half moon can feel really great up against the wall if you bring the shoulders and the back of the body against a wall, especially in third trimester. For that support. One more breath. Good, start to bend the right knee, then come to that wide stance, coming into warrior two. Bend in the front knee, straighten the back, arms nice and strong out to the side. On the next inhale, reverse your warrior, right arm overhead, back arm to the back leg. And then cartwheel the hands, coming down to the inside of the right foot, turning the back toes in, and just lowering the left knee, coming into tabletop. Wagging the tail side to side. And then bringing feet together, knees wide, child's pose. Allowing the belly to relax here, allowing the pelvic floor to relax. You can bring the forehead to stacked hands, or maybe bringing a blanket or a block underneath the forehead or chest, finding ways that you can best support this posture. Feeling the support from the ground beneath you. Taking 2 more breaths here. Good. When you're ready, starting to lift up the chest, going back to tabletop. And then tucking the toes under, lifting the hips, downward facing dog. Aware that you're breathing in, aware that you're breathing out. Good, shift your gaze to the hands, bringing left thumb to meet the right, walking that left foot forward, coming into that lunge shape. And then we're gonna plant that back foot at a 45-degree angle, coming up warrior one. Taking as many steps as you need as you walk the hands up the thighs and extend the arms overhead. Feeling the strength here as you press the feet into the mat to lift up and support the pelvis. Warrior one and lunge shape is great for that If you're experiencing any sciatic nerve pain or discomfort, finding strength in that asymmetric posture. Inhale, cactus the arms, goalpost arms. Bring yourself into a tiny back bend, eyes open, looking up. Bend in the front knee. Good, coming back up, interlacing the fingers behind you or grabbing opposite elbows, using a scarf or strap for support. Start to fold forward, humble warrior. Bring baby to the inside of the left leg. Gaze can be out in front of you or down by the left foot, or maybe shifting it to the back foot, if balance allows. Remembering to keep the heart space open here and breathe. Good. Allow the hands to come back to the ground, and if you have blocks, maybe picking them up and walking them with you, turning all 10 toes to face the right long edge of the mat, coming into wide angle. Same as the other side, taking time to explore here. So maybe doing the same thing that you did on the other side, walking hands to each side, each foot. Maybe keeping the arms forward and really opening up the chest and shoulders here. Maybe bringing that block underneath the forehead to kind of sink into that nice fold. Wherever you are, continuing to breathe here. Taking 2 more breaths to explore. And then we're going to meet with the wrists stacked under the shoulders on a block or not. I have a block under both of my hands, but not necessary if you don't have one. And we're going to go into our spinal twist with the swimming arms. So on your inhale, extend the right arm overhead, looking up towards that hand, and then exhale, swing the arm forward, moving back down to the block or mat. Inhale, left arm. Exhale, swim it forward. And keep moving with the pace of your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more on each side. And then when you return to center, bringing the hands to the hips and bend the knees, and starting to rise up to stand. I'm going to turn to face you all. Coming into our goddess squat, so keeping that wide stance, feet out to the side, and then coming into our squat here, same as the other side, taking a couple of breaths to maybe alternate the shoulders, or pressing into the thighs, finding that traction to kind of lengthen the sacrum and low back here. Maybe swaying side to side. And let's start to lift the chest here, coming into our lion's breath. Same as the other side, keeping that bend in the legs, feeling the fire. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more like that. Inhale. Good. Start to straighten the legs. We're going to come into that triangle flow on the left. So I'm going to grab my block. If you have one, maybe placing it behind that that left foot this time. And we're going to turn the left toes to the back of, or left toes to the front of the mat. I've kind of switched around. And the right toes to the side of the mat. All right, let's start to hinge at the hips. Coming into that triangle shape. Hand can come to the block or the floor. And then bringing that right hand to the sacrum this time, pressing sacrum into the hand and bringing the right hip crease forward a bit. And then when you're ready, extending right arm overhead. You can bend that front knee as much or as little as you'd like. Really peeling open the rib cage here, facing up towards the sky. One more breath. Good. Start to look down at that left hand. If you have a block, pick it up with you. Bring it about 2 feet in front of the left foot, coming into half moon. So lifting the right leg, looking down at the left hand for balance, and the right hand can stay at the hip or maybe start to extend it overhead. Again, utilizing the wall as a prop here can be helpful for balance. Kind of leaning the body against the wall. 2 more breaths here. Breathing deeply and fully, filling up the belly, filling up the chest. And then as you exhale, fully emptying, or emptying completely. Good, start to bend the left knee, and then come into that wide warrior 2 stance. Arms nice and strong, out to the side. Inhale, reverse your warrior, back arm to the back leg. And then cartwheel the hands to the front of the mat, turning the back foot in, dropping the knee as you come into tabletop. Good. We're going to be coming into pigeon from here. So I know some people like to come from hands and knees. Some people like to come from downward facing dog. I will show downward facing dog, but first I'm going to grab my blanket or thick towel if you have it. I like to roll mine up so I have it nearby, but place under my hip. So it's nice to kind of set that up beforehand. Also, blocks can be great, a bolster or a pillow to lie down on. So just kind of getting any props nearby so that you don't have to reach for them. And then either coming into tabletop or coming into downward facing dog. We're going to bring the right knee towards the right wrist. So coming forward here. Keeping the back toes tucked under while you get set up. So really trying to bring that left hip crease forward as much as possible. It's never going to be even with the right hip crease, but really squaring the shoulders to the front of the mat. And then release the toes, checking to make sure the foot is not turned out or in. And then I like to bring that rolled up towel or blanket underneath my right hip to kind of close the gap there between my hip and the earth. So this posture can be really relieving for sciatic pain. I know someone mentioned that they wanted to work on that. Or it can be really intense. So really listening into your body. If it's feeling too intense, you can always come to a supine stretch, which I'll show in a moment. So if you're here in Pigeon and you'd like to fold forward, maybe folding forward to a block or a bolster, and just sinking into stillness there. And so I'll show that alternate, the supine figure 4 stretch for anyone who is feeling too much discomfort in Pigeon. So coming to the left side of the body, rolling to the back. With bent knees, you can bring the right outside of the ankle to the left thigh, staying here if this is enough, or hugging the left thigh in. Still targets the same area, but a little less intense than Pigeon. So that is an option as well. Taking one more breath here. And if you're folded forward, start to lift the chest. And then we're gonna turn to face the long edge of the mat. So open up so the left leg is still extended and the right foot is still bent, or the right knee is still bent, excuse me. All right, start to reach the left hand towards the left foot, and then cartwheel the right hand overhead. So we really want to keep ourselves revolved here, so belly is forward. If you're still feeling comfortable enough to fold with belly right here, feel free. If you're further along in your pregnancy, baby's going to want space forward here. One more breath here. Good, coming up, planting that right hand down next to the right hip. We're gonna lift the hips and get a nice hip flexor stretch. So sitting up, keeping that left leg extended, and really open up so you can feel the opening in the hip flexors. One more breath here. Good, sitting back down. And then coming into hands and knees. So just turning to face the front of the mat. I'm gonna adjust my mat because it keeps getting all rolled up here. All right, we're gonna come into Pigeon on the other side. So I'm just gonna switch my blanket to the left side so it's ready to go. Coming from hands and knees or from downward facing dog, looking towards the hands and bringing left knee towards the left wrist. Bent in front of you, back leg is extended. And again, we want to really focus on squaring the shoulders to the front of the mat, bringing the right hip crease forward. You can release the top of the foot to the mat. I'm going to bring my blanket under my left hip. And then if you are choosing to fold forward, start to fold forward. So like I said, I have my bolster here in front of me, but the blocks, if you set them up in kind of like a T, where your forehead is underneath the top and then chest underneath the bottom, that could be a really great support too, or whatever you're using in place of blocks. It can be some thick books, really anything that you have on hand in the house, getting creative. And of course, if the supine figure 4, lying on the back, was a better option for you, definitely getting into that posture. This time your that side of your left ankle will come to the top of the right thigh, and then you can stay there or hug it in. One more breath here. Start to lift the upper body, and then we're going to open up towards the right side of the mat. I'm going to turn to face you all, but the right leg will be extended and the left knee bent. Start to walk the right hand to the right foot, and then just coming into that side bend. Or again, if you are still comfortable with folding in towards the knee, feel free. As you exhale, maybe finding a little bit deeper of a stretch here. Inhale, cartwheel the arms open. Plant that left hand next to the left hip, and then push the hips up as you open up the right arm overhead, coming into this nice hip flexor stretch, feeling that opening in the front of the body here. Breathe, sending your breath into that space. And then start to bring the hips down. We are going to come into our final resting pose. As always in this class, since we are at home, I invite you to stay with us for or if you would like to take some more time than a couple minutes that we have, feel free to log off and then stay in Shavasana for as long as you would like. But we will be in Shavasana for about like 3 minutes before we close out practice together. So with that, a couple of options for Shavasana. Side lying on the left side of the body, propped up with pillows, blankets, blocks, is a great option. Maybe putting something between the legs and lying on the side. You can go to legs up the wall if you have wall space, just bringing a block or a little bit of support underneath the sacrum. And then putting the legs up the wall so the back of the legs are against the wall. Or you can come into a reclined position, propped up with blocks or pillows, couch cushions, like so. And either bringing the feet together with knees out, or constructive rest with knees knocked together and feet wide. So lots of options. Just lying flat on the back typically isn't recommended, especially once you're past the first trimester and it's probably not very comfortable. Also an option for supported fish with 2 blocks, one underneath the upper back and then one underneath the back of the head, lying back to really open the chest. So as you find your version of Shavasana this evening, start to bring the breath back to its natural rhythm, no effort or control. Allowing yourself to sink into stillness here as you drink in all the benefits from your practice this evening. Maybe taking this time to bring hands to your baby space and connecting with baby as you rest. As you continue to rest here, I always end practice with pulling a card from the Goddess Wisdom deck that I have here. And so tonight's card is Lakshmi, the beautiful and benevolent Hindu goddess who brings abundance to those who call upon her. Lakshmi's connection to lotus flowers, elephants, and water represent her absolute faith in the fertility and abundance available to everyone. So a message from Lakshmi. This is a kind universe, and everyone within it is working in your favor. There are no tests, blocks, or obstacles in your way, except your own projections of fear into your future. Take a moment and hush your mind, quieting it from worries and fears. Feel me brush your brow with a new energy of faith, hope, and optimism. These energies fuel your exciting present time, as well as all future moments. Why would you wish darkness upon yourself when light shines all around you? Step into this brightness by lightening your thoughts and feelings. You must stop worrying, as this anxiety squelches the goodness that seeks to find you. Clear your heart of fear and replace those energies with ones that will serve you and your family instead. Refuse to think of anything except your bright today and tomorrow, and I promise you that it shall be so. Start to reintroduce movement to your fingers and toes. And as you're ready, if you are not already lying on the left side, gently rolling to the left side of your body. Pausing a moment, taking a breath, sending in messages to baby. And then you can find yourself in a comfortable seated position when you're ready. You can bring your hands to your baby space, or one hand to baby, one hand to heart space. And gently close your eyes as we close our practice today in gratitude. Gratitude for this day, Gratitude for yourself, for taking this time to nourish your body, mind, spirit, connection to baby. Gratitude for one another, for sharing in this virtual yoga space. And as always, I thank you for allowing me and trusting me to guide you through this practice. When we close our practice, you can bring your hands to heart center and bow forward if you choose. Keep peace in your mind, strength in your body, and love in your heart. Until next time, be well, and thank you.